Why does anything happen? That's a complicated question to answer, but it is a more sensible question than why do bad things happen? This is because there is no reason to single out bad things for special attention unless bad things happen more often than we would expect them to, by chance. Or unless we think there should be a kind of natural justice, which would mean that bad things should only happen to bad people. Do bad things happen more often than we ought to expect by chance alone? If so, then we really do have something to explain. You may have heard people refer jokingly to Sod's Law. This states, if you drop a piece of toast and marmalade on the floor, it always lands marmalade side down. Or, more generally, if a thing can go wrong, it will. People often joke about this, but at times you get the feeling they think it is more than a joke. They really do seem to believe the world is out to hurt them. Recently, a film crew with whom I was working chose a location where we felt sure there should be a minimum of noise, a huge empty field. We arrived early in the morning to make doubly sure of peace and quiet, only to discover, when we arrived, a lone Scotsman practicing the bagpipes. "Sod's Law!" we all shouted. The truth, of course, is that there is noise going on most of the time, but we only notice it when it is an irritation, as when it interferes with filming. There is a bias in our likelihood of noticing annoyance, and this makes us think the world is trying to annoy us deliberately. In the case of the toast, it wouldn't be surprising to find that it really does fall marmalade side down more often than not, because tables are not very high, the toast starts marmalade side up, and there is usually time for 1/2 rotation before it hits the ground. But the toast example is just a colorful way to express the gloomy idea that if a thing can go wrong, it will. Perhaps this would be a better example of Sod's Law. When you toss a coin, the more strongly you want heads, the more likely it is to come up tails. That, at least, is the pessimistic view. There are optimists who think that the more you want heads, the more likely the coin is to come up heads. Perhaps we could call that Pollyanna's Law, the optimistic belief that things usually turn out for the good. When you put it like that, you can quickly see that Sod's Law and Pollyanna's Law are both nonsense. Coins and slices of toast have no way of knowing the strength of your desires, and no desire of their own to frustrate them or fulfill them. Also, what is a bad thing for one person may frustrate a good thing for another. There is no special reason to ask, why do bad things happen? Or, for that matter, why do good things happen? The real question underlying both is the more general question. Why does anything happen? So, we have seen that bad things, like good things, don't happen any more often than they ought to by chance. The universe has no mind, no feelings, and no personality, so it doesn't do things in order to either hurt or please you. Bad things happen because things happen. Whether they are bad or good from our point of view doesn't influence how likely it is that they will happen. Some people find it hard to accept this. They'd prefer to think that sinners get their punishment, that virtue is rewarded. Unfortunately, the universe doesn't care what people prefer.